Hello, my thoughtful friends. We spend a lot of time in acquiring wealth and earning livelihood. So it makes sense for us to look into the process of wealth generation. So let me clarify 2 points right from the beginning. First of all, this is not a get rich quick technique. It is not even how to get rich. However, if you do get rich, it is almost certain that you would use the process that has been explained here. Secondly, wealth is not equal to money. Money is cash, whereas wealth can be explained as the ability to generate cash. We can earn cash or we can get it in lottery. We can also lose cash. But wealth is developed over a period of time, and it is relatively not easy to get rid of one's wealth without being totally naive. Wealth can be defined as the infrastructure developed for generation of cash. I repeat, infrastructure developed for generation of cash. So the process of creating wealth, it has 3 steps. Step 1, accumulation of capital. We need a smart person who is willing to work hard. This smart and hardworking person will work hard and generate cash as called capital. Step 2, acquiring assets. Using the cash generated in step 1, this person will acquire assets which are capable of generating further cash or profit. The third step is growth. Once profit is generated by the asset, a portion of that profit is spent on covering the expenses of the business, and the rest is reinvested into the same business to generate more assets. You must have heard the old saying that knowledge is wealth. It is actually the knowledge of the process of creating cash generating assets that is wealth. Now let's look at why poor people fail to generate wealth. Process poor people follow is step 1, accumulation of capital. As previously we would need a smart person who is willing to work hard and generate cash, so far the process is the same. Step 2, acquiring liabilities. After generating the initial cash, the poor person, instead of buying assets, will buy liabilities. Step 3, decrement. These liabilities, once purchased, instead of producing cash, will consume cash that the individual is already generating, thus creating a negative cycle of growth. With every iteration, the person buys more and more liabilities, and his capability to generate assets is diminished. Difference between asset and liabilities. Before we go any further, it is important to explain the difference between assets and liabilities. There are many books which have devoted complete chapters to this topic. One of the most important one being Rich Dad, Poor Dad, written by Robert Kiyosaki. In simple words, anything that puts money into your pocket is an asset, and anything that takes money out of your pocket is a liability. For example, a car purchased by a person for his own personal use is a liability, since it is not putting money into his pocket. On the other hand, a car purchased to be used as an Uber is an asset, since it is putting money into its owner's pocket. Real estate purchased to be rented out as Airbnb is an asset. On the other hand, a home purchased for the residence of one's family is not an asset, rather a liability. Some other examples of classic assets are, suppose, a vending machine, a factory, a book written by an author, software created by a software engineer, patents by inventors, rental properties, rental cars, hotels, motels, and businesses, but those which have been automated to the extent that it does not take much time of the owner. Lifestyle versus assets. It is clear from the above discussion that there is a tug of war between maintaining a lifestyle and creating assets. The problem is that the poor people choose to improve their lifestyles first, whereas rich people choose to create assets as their step one. Once those assets are producing enough money, they then use that generated profit to improve the quality of their life. Now, the process of wealth generation may seem very simple, however, the devil is in the details. Let's look at some of the important points. Here, the word asset and business are being used interchangeably, since a business is just a group of managed assets. So, the first point is self-sustained asset or a business. If the process of wealth creation has reached a point where the cash generated by the process is enough to buy more assets and there is no need for the owner to inject further capital, the business is called to be self-sustained. Every business person should strive to be self-sustained as soon as possible. Exponential assets or business. Once the process becomes self-sustained and there is no limit on the number of assets that can be added, also there is no hindrance in management of these large number of assets, the process is said to have become exponential. The ultimate dream of any business person is to own an exponential business. There are 5 stages for a business to become exponential, but we will discuss them in some other video. Automation of the process. Once a business has become self-sustained, the next desirable step for the owner will be to make it automated so that it can work on its own under the supervision of employees, thus freeing the owner to launch other projects. If for some reason the owner cannot automate the cash generation process of a business or an asset, then the business is like buying yourself a job. This is not considered to be a good business for accumulation of wealth. That is why franchising has been called as the easiest way to becoming a billionaire. Furthermore, there are few reinvestment strategies and few basic rules how to invest and how not to invest. If you want to read it in detail, please visit my blog. It is bilza.com. The link is in the bucket. And to conclude, I am sure that you would agree that we have looked into the process of wealth generation and even dived into reasonable depth. However, I am also sure that I may have created some doubts in your minds and they need to be answered. However, for the time being, I think I should conclude it here and I'll answer those doubts and questions in further videos. I hope you stay in touch. Please subscribe and like this video. And hope that we stay in touch, communicate in the future.